Friends, uh, this is CA Nitin Pathak. I am an immediate past president of Isaka chapter Ahmedabad.
Oh,
I
yes.
am going to today talk on the subject of uh, we are going to deliberate IT notices on political donation. This is a hot topic and very important topic, and we are going to give a talk on when to choose a new regime versus old regime, some of the tax planning, investment planning, CTC, and some of the very basic this thing. So this is a long presentation, but I will be making that, I will finish it within 30 minutes time, within 1 hour time. And whatever question you want to raise it, just email me at nitinampathak@gmail.com. You can share your views on nitinampathak@gmail.com or write it to my blog. I will answer it, this thing. Okay. With this, we are going on IT notices. Any issue on IT notices, I'll handle it. I'll guide you. Just give me email, because everything I cannot discuss on the open forum. But there are ways where you can easily uh, get scot free or likely to get scot free, because this is a faceless assessment. Because of faceless, there won't be any officer between you and this. They are issuing notices. Before issuing notices, they are giving you the this thing. So now I'm starting on political donation and what are the provisions related to that, how it has happened, how it has started, how it is going to end. This is the first few slides I will talk in. If anyone wants to have a discussion on that subject, any question, just email me, I'll answer. Income tax department will issue notices under section 148, this thing. Income tax department will issue notice under section 148A to the donors who have made a donation to, they call, registered unrecognized political party. Who would be given, who would be issued notice? The search were taken place in unregistered political parties. 23 unregistered parties were raided, were searched under section 132, and search was conducted during the month of September 22 in Ahmedabad and at various other places. The list I have provided here. This slide I will put it on a blog at canitinmpathak.blogspot.com, where you can download this PPT also. These are the 23 trusts with PAN number. If if you have donated to any of these political party for the after the assessment year, yeah, for 1920 till date, yeah, for 1418 till date, you would be likely to get a notice. Okay. In this research, a total of 23 registered unrecognized political party were detected, and it was alleged that those parties were ignoring providing bogus donation entry. It may be possible that some of the donor may have paid a genuine donation under the belief that they are donating to a genuine party. It may not be that all the party would have gotten, all the donors would have get cash back, because many persons are really interested in making donation. They want to make our political system clean. But till today, I give an example of, like, when in the previous regime or in the previous happening, there were builder were raided, or builder were given information that I have a, a, a building or a scheme. This is my unit number. This is my cash amount of money. This is my check amount of money. It may be in the form of Excel sheet. It may be in the form of cheat. And if this is a proof, this document or diary or Excel sheet were considered as proof, and the reassessment proceeding has been started, and many person has to give pay the tax. So in old regime and even in GST, suppose I buy a goods on the genuine belief and I sold the goods, and if some purchaser party said that I've made a dummy entry, so in GST also, you purchase, sales, both are reflected in the in input credit, output credit. you paid the tax, everything is settled. But once it is proved that these are only hawala, or there are no services provided, or there is no transfer of goods, and there is no movement of goods, this is only in dummy entry, then also everybody in the GST regime also has to pay tax. So anybody believing that I am totally genuine, I have not made this transaction, but still they have to face the music on this ground. On the, because these are previously happening, past में ये सब हो चुका है. On the basis of confession of somebody called a builder, on the basis of confession of GST, somebody said this is only an entry, hawala, but there is no actual transfer of goods or services in GST regime. So is the case here. So we are now, I'm going into, like, if somebody assumes that I'm going to be saved, not only that, there are ways and means to handle the case. With this, I'm going ahead. In this search, a total 23 unregistered recognized party were detected, and it was alleged that those parties were involved in providing bogus donation entries. The raid were conducted on the recommendation of Election Commission. 287 entities from the list of RUPP. From its list RUPP, they found that non-existent during the physical verification. With this, the rate, with this, the case started. Now, what is the provision under section 147, 148 I'm discussing? The reassessment proceeding on the beneficiary of donor. Those who have paid a donation to RUFF, they call it nomenclature, RUFF. RUFF means 23 parties whom the donation have been paid by the donor are likely to get these notices. Based on such information, Income Tax Department is set to issue a notice under section 148A of the act which initiates the reassessment proceeding. What the government wants, before initiating the assessment, they give you an information that this is the case, and if you prove that you are genuine, they may not reopen the case. If on the basis of notice you would be given a notice, so cause notice, you would be given an information, you would be given a notice under section 148 A1 A, and in B you have to reply. On your reply would be answered on the basis of information collected. Your case may be reopened. Once it is reopened, you have been given a power to issue you have been given an option to file a return. On the basis of filing return, there would be an assessment. In some other party may believe that if I confess and pay the tax by paying that this is a diminution, that may not save you from a penalty proceedings. Penalty proceedings still be levied, but interest from that date on which you have paid the interest, because income tax interest is around 1.5%, which is because 234A, 234B, 234C, all the interest would be leviable. If you right now file the revised return, you may be saved from that music also. So there is one provision: you may file a return, a revised return under the new format for 31st March 22, 31st March 21. You can file a revised return, and on the basis of revised return, you may not be liable for penalty. Maybe the government may save you, but this is the option number one. You would be given a notice, you file a revised return, and on 140 on the basis of return issue of notice, or under for 31st March 23, you don't claim the donation if you made 22, 21, you file a revised return by paying all tax, and 31st March जो भी है उसमें रिवाइज रिटर्न कर जो 148 का ऑप्शन है, when you file a return, you may choose this. These are the way we are going to go further. 147, income tax empower the IT authority to reassess the income which escaped the assessment. If any income chargeable tax in case of an SSC escape assessment, 147 says that with the provision of 148 to 153, if your income has been assessed or already assessed, they can reassess to recompute the loss. Loss means loss would be reduced. Depreciation, if you when it can be withdrawn, other allowances or deduction. In our case, it is a deduction which we claim under 80GGC. If such assessment and these are the provisions under which reassessment provision under section 147 read with 148 to 153. 148A is a provision by which you have been given an option to so cause why your case may not be reopened. So 147 to 143 raid with 148, 153. I'm not going to discuss everything in this thing because it would be mechanical. 148A1, an inquiry with the prior approval of specified with the relevant information suggests that. So ये जो notice मिली है, this is the notice. On the basis of that, you have to reply within 7 days, not less than 7 days, but not exceeding 30 days. You reply, and your reply as well as the information you have got it. Consider the reply and furnish so-called notice. आपने का जो reply इसके बाद में they will issue a so-called notice why your case should not be reopened, and on the basis of SCN and on the government's information, the income tax department information, your reply, they would decide whether the case should be reopened. Once it is reopened, you are being given an option to file a return. Once the file is, if you file a return on the basis of that, your 147 to 150, the proceeding will be started. Okay. In case of search, this provision not be applied. No SCN needs to be done. If a search is initiated under section 142, 132, search means in your house, department comes, or your books supply or the document or any other requisition under section आपको you've been asked to submit under section 132A, or your books are lined at some other place, this belongs to SSA, the case may be reopened. I'm not verbatimly giving everything, but you got most of the information. What would be the consequences once your assessment under 140 is initiated? After giving notice, your reply, SCN, your reply, and on the basis of 148D, you have been asked to file a return, you file a revised return, 147 assessment started, and what can be the conclusion? The conclusion may be your donation at 148 GGC may be disallowed, and 234 A, B, C would B and C would be leviable, and 244A interest which you have received on the basis of refund you received, you have to pay back. So these are the consequences. What is the penalty? Under section 270A, empower the assessing officer to levy a penalty for underreporting. Underreporting means you have income which is 1 lakh and you have not reported the income. You have filed a misreporting. Here we have not misreported, but they can charge in case of 148 270A. If they claim that it is underreporting, a penalty of 50%. If it is say misreporting, they may charge you 200%, plus there may be a prosecution because you indulge into some malpractices which you should not. So in that case, that would be also applicable. Plus there is a new provision under section 269 SST. You made a donation and if they prove that you collected more than 2 lakh cash, then that 269 SST applicable. Suppose somebody has made a donation of 7 lakh and he has received 6 lakhs back. So this section is also applicable, and prosecution. So you do not take these notices very lightly. You answer professionally, and you have certain rights at the stage of assessment. You have a right of personal hearing. You have a right of cross-examination. You have a right to see the document on the basis of which they have initiated the proceedings. Okay, so these are the documents you need to ask, and that can save you also. It's not a cut paste answer. It's not like chat GPT would go and answer all the notices of this donation or ATGGC, every donation made by you. If you write down, chat GPT will give an answer, but this will not serve you because it's not a cut paste this thing. Documentary digital is collected during the course of search. What they did when they searched them, they have collected the books. There were layers in between. There were intermediaries. And there were 3 intermediaries, 32 agents. They were there. On the basis of that, all diaries, all WhatsApp call, all mobile records, all emails have been collected during the search and survey operation. Documentary details collected during the course of search action were confronted the key person and the key person of the group and subsequently size. All their records have been there. They have got even WhatsApp chat also between the intermediaries. What sometimes people chat it. Now there is a provision which is called an audit trail. What is audit trail? When you go in the books of account, when you make any changes, there should be a trail for listed company, certain company. So government is very agile also. So generally, what we're happening nowadays, you go and submit the balance sheet and profit loss account. CA would come and say that let us your taxable income is this, and you have to pay X amount of tax. Client says, no, 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 I don't want to pay this much tax. So he would file a revised thing, and suggestion is given. And by this, all suggestions are recorded through email and WhatsApp, and all correspondence is available with them. They can be used against you also. And the same way is here. In this case, there would be a correspondence case collected by whom? Your email, WhatsApp, and SMS would be all trail would be there with them. So further, during the course of pre as well as post search, it has been established you have been involved in the activity of providing accommodation entry by way of a bogus donation. Thereafter, they have collected even bank statement, donation receipt, bogus donation receipt. There, on the basis of bank account statement, RUPP beneficiary don't avail the detection of bogus made to RUPP has been identified. So, in nutshell, what I'm saying, search were taken place under section 132A at LUPP pre and post search. Incrementing document were found. Document diary, chats were there, mobile phone control. The donation were bogus, have been concluded at the time of search of these 23 trust. And on the basis of that, they have collected, these are the party who have been donor to the trust. And they have been issued a notice under section 148A asking them why your case should not be open. They have been given information, whether have you made that donation. If you say yes, you will be given SCN. SCN needs to be replied, then you would be given an option to file a return. On the basis of filing return, there would be an assessment. At the time of assessment, you need to do all the possible option available to you to use that, so that the penalty may not be levied. And there are many of the options there would be a faceless assessment. There are many possibilities that you may not be assessed, you may be saved, but for that you have to work professionally and systematically also. How much penalty, interest, prosecution will be levied is a speculation as and today, but avoid panicky. You may seek documentation, digital evidence, cross-verification, all the rights are available to you. This is in nutshell about political donation. I have covered anything which I've left unanswered. You can WhatsApp me or you can call me at canitinmpathak@gmail.com. मेरा blog है. You can go to a blog and send me this thing. This PPT would be available on blog. I will do my best to see that you are genuinely answering the query. Now, I'm into old regime versus new regime. This year, government has adopted, has revised the scheme, old regime versus new regime. In from this financial year, next financial year, if you file a return, if you don't select anything, it would be an old new regime. For old regime, you have to select and fill up the form for this thing. Once you have gone from old regime to new regime, now you cannot go back to new regime to old regime, except for those who doesn't have a salary business income. They can swap each year. Otherwise, you cannot swap. You gone, matter is over. The rate of tax in new regime is lower than this thing. Government doesn't want the old scheme, but because of the pressure from the group, they continued with the old regime. In old regime, you are entitled to certain deduction and exemption, and supported by you have to support the document also. In nutshell, if you're saving and claiming HBA interest, mediclaim, and investment damage, then you are likely to be benefited in old scheme. Otherwise, you would be entitled for in a new scheme only. So what are the rates in old and new scheme, which I have mentioned here? If you don't remember, this PPT I'm going to share in my blog. So you can see it from a blog, this PPT also. up to 2,50,000 nil, 2,50,000 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 13, the above surcharge and cess I have not mentioned here. Up to 2,50,000 nil, 250 to 5%, but subject to 87A, 5 to 7.5, 10%, 5, 7.5 to 10, 15, 20, 30. These are the way rate slab is there. And these are the calculation which I made. Gross salary 7.5, 10.5, 12, 13, 15, which I will explain in the next slide. On the basis of that, up to 7.5, old scheme is beneficial, then new scheme is beneficial. Okay, these are the calculation which I leave it to you. I don't go into detail there. Okay. Now there is a CTC planning. I've covered it later on also. Okay. And any question on this? Because by and large, you have only three options to investment: equity, debt, and immobile property. In immobile property, you got three options. You have buy land or a office or residence. Office equal to shop and etc. Residence in nutshell, you call it a farmhouse, you can everything, but basic investment is three. In immobile property, there is a land, there is a residence, and there is a business property. Okay, and each property you have to allot a time before selecting. You cannot be haywire. I tell you, in my office, I'm at Mundial House. Okay, if I buy the same property on first floor, if I buy the same property on 20th floor, the rate is different. The place is different, rate is different, size is different. So, people come and conclude without going into the time. When you invest the money, you have to give it time. There are shares, there are PMS, there are equity mutual fund. In equity, there are three types of schemes: shares, PMS, and equity fund. In debt, there is a bank deposit, fixed deposit, government bonds, debt fund, mutual fund. These are overall scheme, and you have to be very much aware. It's insurance is when you take any insurance company do only two things. One part is for administrative expenses, one type of say आपका morbidity और mortality rate पे वो इनको commission देते हैं, वो reinsure करते हैं. इसका खर्चा बाद में they invest either in debt or equity or in this thing, and then on the basis of that you get a return, say 5.5% as per average you get a return. General insurance, personal loan, I'm not going into detail. So this is an economic view which have been taken when in 2003, our economy is $0.5 trillion. Now it is in 2017, it is 2.5. In 2032, it may be more than 15 to $7 trillion. Okay. At 2003, when 50 trillion economy, there was a Sensex was at 3K. And today in 2017 it is 32K. So our economy has grown 5 times and our index has grown double. Same analogy, if after 14 years our economy is going to 6 to 7 times, more than 14 to 21 times. So what I'm concluding is large cap, mid cap, 28 cap, mid cap, small cap, your economy, your portfolio in equity is going to grow faster than debt or even a residential or a mobile property. So I suggest and recommend, anyway, you invest at least some of your investment in shares, PMS, and equity fund. If you have seen that the many banks of foreign country has gone into haywire, they lost even if they've invested in government in USA Treasury bond. One of the bank has lost $1.3 billion in US Treasury because of increase in this rate. And because of that bank fails. And because of that bank fails, 5 bank fails. So it is not only necessary that you put a money in a bank deposit, you are safe, or you put it in a money equity is not safe. Sometimes it is better that you put a money in equity is more safe than you put it in a bank FD or fixed deposit. So this is likely to be the scenario. I have taken one slide for even index also. How index BSE index has given a return. So and it is going to continue. So this is the scheme in which in 2000 21, 5-year horizon, 7-year, 26, the 10-year horizon, 31-year, 15, 20-year horizon. If you invest in a mid cap at 1.15.8, historic alpha is 1.5, your investment on in 2036 is 19 crore, 32 crore, 45 crore, 65 crore. So what I'm suggesting, don't worry. At least go for large cap. You can choose multi-cap, mid-cap. This is a slide I'm leaving it open. It's very simple slide, but it is very effective. This is like low risk. कौन सा low risk है? It is like FD, liquid, gold, short-term fund, arbitrage fund, then actual accrual debt, balance fund, mid-cap, large cap, multi-cap, mid-cap, small cap, and equity and PMS. These are the speedometer. The more you risk, the more is the return. But sometimes it happens, what people does, they are going in a low risk fund, but they lose the money because their choice is wrong. Okay, this is goal based. आपको कौन से goal select करना है? On the basis of that, you want to preserve your capital, go for money market fund, short term deposit, government papers. If you want to goal income bond fund, company fixed deposit bond, debentures, growth funds, and stock. This is as such should be such, but most of the people make a mess of it there also. So this is a slide which I prepared on the basis of in 1979 index was 100, 80, 81, 82. I've put an index on the basis of that. On the basis of that, I made a formula. 100 to 100 से 129 पे 29% है. 100 to 29 CAGR को 34%. 218 divided by this 26%. So these are the incremental CAGR per year. So if you look at it like this, out of 44 years, if I take 100 to 59,000, it is giving me 15 point something CAGR. So if you put money this in BSE index, nowadays you can buy an index on the index funds. जो है, it cost is less than 0.4% of the total expenses you have to suppose. So index fund is one of the most safest fund in the world, and at least for India also. So if you put in this index fund 59.131, you are likely to get 15 point something return over a period of time. आपने 100 रुपये रखा तो at the end of 23 it would be 59,000 and divided by 0.54% आपका expenses काट लो every year, but still it would be a handsome return, and it is a very safe return. Here I have created a slide 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 25 years, 30 years. If you took it 25 to 30 years, 25, 15, so here जैसे भी मैं ऊपर जाता हूँ, मेरा लॉस की फिगर कम हो जाती है. Okay, so this is one of the safest investment over a period of time. So ये अगर short term होता है तो नुकसान जाता है, but probability of loss is decreasing day by day. So I always recommend to buy a BSE index. BSE, NSE index almost same. So this is the way people, those who are not literate, जिसको कुछ भी पता नहीं चलता है, go and invest in BSE index fund, and the expense ratio is very minimal, and because of that no broker would come and guide you कि भी आप invest करो. Next slide please. Here ये जो मैंने काफी select करके choose किया है, the Aditya Birla Frontline Fund, which is size of the fund at February 23 is 21,000 crore. What is the return over a period of 5 years? 9.7 CAGR. From उसका risk है, इसका fund कहाँ है? Large cap में 85.6, mid cap में 9.8, small cap में 1.8. And how much stock they have? Go only 72% stock, rolling stock. If you know how to read it, this is one of the safest fund you have it, and still you get a 10% return. 34,000 crore. ICICI Prudential Blue Chip Fund. What is that? What is the fund? 34,000 crore. What is the return over a period of time? 11.1% CAGR. So this is what I've collected for large cap. This is a flexi cap fund. 29,000 crore in Prague, this fund scheme. What is the rate of return over a period of time? 17.1 on the basis of fund of 30,000 crore. The AUM is on February 23. And how are their sales? Large cap 58%, 4.2%, 7.5%. And these are the ratio you if you go through. It's absolutely safer than even a bank, State Bank or whatever may be. A PNB Bank was likely to be because of Nirav Modi only 1% made the whole bank bankrupt in a no way time. If Indian government would not be after that bank would not have been saved. This is the way the investment pattern is going to be there. Now I am talking about a value or contract based fund. In this case, 27,450 crore. ICICI Prudential Value Discovery Fund. What is the return over a period of 10 years? 17.5, majestic return. What do you mean by 17.5? 1 to 40 at 14.87, your money doubles over a period of time, 10 years, 4 years. Your money become 1 to 4 and 17 point maybe around 1 rupees becomes 6 rupees over a period of 10 years. It's a huge return. अगर आप अपना घर बेच के भी इसमें लगाओ और रेंट पे रहो, still you would get a good money. So if you are a good investor, you are a professional, or you have the ability to do that, absolute majestic money in even Bandhan Sterling Value Fund base, SBI Contra Fund. Then I'm into this one fund which is 11,000 crore, Kotak Equity Opportunity Fund. What a return over a period of time, 10 years, 15.4, 11,600 crore, 9,441, 16.1. But why people are making a mistake? Because they go to a consultant or a broker. You go to a consultant who are really professional, who are ready to guide you, whom you can trust. This is where you can make money. Mid cap. This is a majestic fund. You cannot believe Kotak Emergency Equity Fund growth 19.6% return on the basis of AUM of 23,000 crore. Oh my goodness. What would be your money? This is like small cap fund, 23,000 crore ke fund pay over a period of 5 years, 15.8% return. I am in ELSS 3,167. I have invested my money in ELSS. I have made my money because of some of the shares which I purchased. And I don't mind buying and I don't mind for this thing. Now I am into liquid fund. This liquid fund is 11,000 crore, 12,000 crore. So over a period of years, the next is yield is around 7%. But if you get even 6% on this fund, it's very huge return. Ultra short term fund means you can keep your money for a day also. You get a return, say around 6.5, not a bad money market fund, not a bad deal, worth going for it. ये PMS है. I don't recommend PMS, but these are the PMS which have got a good return, which I've collected on the basis of this inception date, 6 months, 1 year. What is PMS? PMS is like it's very risky because their expense ratio is very higher. So you have to be very this thing. But now if you have to be like around 85, 80, you don't need to see anything. You have to select this type of scheme. Senior citizen, 8.2, post office monthly 7.4, NSA 7.7, PPF 7.1, Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana 8, Kisan Vikas Patra 7.5, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, post office recurring 6.8, 6.9, 7, 7.5, majestic. Now I am going into some of the very fast discussion. PPF, GPF, PPF only exempt scheme, interest on tax-free bond. Any sum received under life insurance policy subject to rider after this year above 5 lakh liable for tax. A saving bank rate 10,000 80 TTA, TTB. And gift tax. So now a gift tax above 50,000 is taxable except from specified person. Specified person कौन आएगा उसका definition मैंने नीचे लिया है. I would explain you also gift received on the occasion of marriage or under a will not be liable for tax. Who are the like 6? If I'm there, if I'm Nitin Pathak, if I get money from my sister or my jijaji, my brother, my wife, brother's wife, Babi, my daughter, or my husband of my daughter, my son-in-law, my son and my daughter-in-law, my wife, father, father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother, sister, his wife, or क्या बोलते हैं, sister and sister husband. You are entitled for free. My father, my mother, my uncle, my auntie, my foifwa, mama, mami, and masa masi. I put it in Gujarati. Okay. So if this is a chart I have to see, if somebody asks me, I give them a chart. If you're following this, you become an individual and then go on that other way around. You'd be entitled or not. Filing return, you for a tax planning, you need to file a return of yourself, wife, son, daughter. If you give a gift to your wife, you're liable for tax in your hand. If you give a gift to your daughter-in-law, it would be in exchange. You can give a gift to your son and daughter who are major. HUF karo, company karo, firm karo, LLP karo, these are the tax planning option available to you, but it should be legitimate and within the parameter of the law only. Invest income flow in each manner that creates a minimum tax liability. Transferring directly in the name of son or daughter-in-law will not be subjected to scrutiny. NPS, you can invest in NPS. NPS, you are entitled for 50,000 more in the form of a tax deduction under 80cc D. Okay, so up to 50,000 every year you will be entitled up to 65 years age, and if it would be deducted under 80cc D1, if your employer gives an 80cc D, 10% of that would be available as a employee employer, not a perquisite. Okay, non-salary employee 20%. You cannot, you can invest up to 10%, 20%, and this is called EET. आप जब इन्वेस्ट करते हो तो टैक्स फ्री है, एग्जम्प्ट है, इंटरेस्ट एग्जम्प्ट है. जब यू रिसीव ए पेंशन इट विल बी लायबल फॉर टैक्स. बट NPS, you can withdraw NPS at any time. 25% is exempt. Rest will be liable for EET, means you withdraw. And now you said, I don't want to continue, I don't want to put a money in annuity. Then rest of the 75 would be taxable. 40% of the accumulated fund shall be exempt from tax on the basis of maturity. On death, it will be free to the nominee. Pension is taxable. Amount utilized for buying NPS would be exempt. But if you withdraw up to more than 40%, it would be liable to tax. Basically, there are 5 heads: income from salary because of employer-employee relationship. I have a house, my house property, but not land anything which is land, my office, my residential property, shop, all would be covered under this. Income from a house property, profit and gains on business, capital gain, income from others. So there are basically 5 heads by which government levy the tax. I'm taking only one minute and leave it. Up to 2 lakh it is exempt. 5 years before अगर 5 साल पहले अगर possession के पहले जो आपने interest पे किया, it would be entitled for accumulated over a period of 5 years, and you would be entitled for that. If I bought a office and I paid the amount before that 5 years before the possession, it will not be deducted. But after possession, the whatever accumulation is made, I would be entitled for 5 years. Annual income, municipal tax, 30% deduction, and HP interest. These are the only expenses would be available. लोग मुझे बोलते हैं कि जो बिजनेस वाले वो अच्छा प्लानिंग करते हैं, सैलरी वाले प्लान बहुत करते हैं, बट आई थिंक इट इज नॉट सो. Both are under scrutiny. It is sometimes it is possible that they can evade the tax very easily, but nowadays it is not so. Government is very vigilant, and they are taking care of everything. Government doesn't allow you to, like, they don't distinguish between salary employee and a business employee. Okay. Yeah. A business person, the expenses which are earned to income is liable for business. Suppose I use a car. I use a car for my going to office, and then I use car for my business purpose, then I'm entitled. But if I'm using car for my family purpose, it will not be entitled as business expense, including capital expenditure of a car. जो बिजनेस कमाने के लिए मैं जो करता हूँ वही बात मिलेगा. पर्सनल एक्सपेंडिचर इज नॉट अलाउड. interest income, company deposit, debentures, bonds, savings. These are private loan, government entity will be interest on the 15G and 15H. You cannot give if your income is above taxable, and you cannot submit a form if your income is above taxable income, even if you are above this thing. If you do it, you are liable for penal action. Any personal asset other than personal asset would be a capital gain sale price minus purchase price, capital living on sale of immovable property. Immovable property means land. This thing land ka base उन्होंने change कर दिया 1 for 2001, and indexation would be available only index whatever the Gen 3 price would only be taken. Now there is no option but to make a valuation and you can do it. No, after 1 for 2001, if your property, your property value would be considered. If you purchase a property before 1 for 2001, there would be gentry would be taken. Gentry would be like this. If I had a house, land and building, okay, I built a house in 70. Okay, so my construction of cost of 1970 would be taken. 1% deduction up to 1 for 2001. Suppose 70 में मैंने construction किया तो 31 years हो गया. उस टाइम मैंने 50,000 में कंस्ट्रक्शन किया था. फॉर 50,000 लेस 1% फॉर एवरी ईयर. 50,000 minus 15 30%, मतलब 30 15%, 35,000 would be considered my construction cost, and gentry price on 1 for 2001 will be taken. Now government say nothing doing. This is the base. So no valuation, no stamp duty valuation, anything you don't need to go. Stamp valuation plus आपकी construction cost, वो मैंने उसके बाद आपका indexing होगा. A government come with a very good idea that any section 54 and 54F previously available for any limit. Now government says no. If your sale price is about 10 crore, so your base would be taken as 10 crore, and on the basis of that deduction would be claimed. I'm not going into detail because it's a calculation. It will be available in the blog also. So what are the time period by which you would be considered as short term or long term? 12 months, 12 months. If you are a stock exchange, you buy a share on a recognized stock exchange, it would be 12 months. Units 12 months. You equity 12 months. Unlisted share. My listed Reliance is a listed share. Unlisted है Reliance की कोई company है. So it would be unlisted share. Land and building 24 months. Unit of which is specified 23 months. Any other asset 26 months. So below this 12 months, short term and long term. Short term would be at maximum marginal, maximum, not maximum marginal. It would be like, it would be added to your income, and rest would be long term indexation would be available. 54 HP, if you buy a house and before 1 year and sell another before 2 years and 3 years construction, your investment would be considered agriculture income case of 2 years, industrial land for 3 years. आपका जो लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल है अभी रिस्ट्रिक्टेड टू 50 लाख 6 मंथ इन अ बॉन्ड. 54 in a bond for this thing. 54 means you sell a house which is other than residential house and you buy a residential house, then you will be entered under section 54 1 year before, 2 and 3 years after. But there is a different scheme for that. ATG industrial land, ATGB is plus this is available in the blog. I'm going fast because I have to finish within 1 hour time. Long-term capital gain, what is that? Until today, the long-term capital gain share was not taxable. Now, if it is exceeding rupees 1 lakh, you'd be liable for tax under section 112A, section 1038. Okay, and the rate would be 10%. Your grandfathering concept would be available. That would be considered. I've gone through one simple example. In both the cases, STT should be paid. Then one table. First indexation, fair market value, capital gain. The first and second provision 40, the indexation value in respect of cost of improvement while competition LTC is withdrawn. The capital gain in case of foreign currency, in case of non will not be available. The new scheme LTCGS and the cost of in respect of LTCGA acquired by the SSC before 1st February 2018 is a base grandparenting concept. इसका नीचे एग्जांपल देते हो, इसमें आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा. एक्चुअल कॉस्ट ऑफ लोअर ऑफ फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू ऑन 31st March, फुल वैल्यू ऑफ कंसीडरेशन ब्रॉड 3 सिक्योरिटीज. Fair market value shares and recognize mutual fund would be as on as on 31st January 2018 will be taken. This is an example. First thing, मेरी cost of acquisition 1 lakh है और मेरी fair market value in the first step, 1st February 2000. Let me give you an example of Reliance. I bought a Reliance of 1000. On 1st February 2000, it is 3000. I sold it for 4000. 4000 minus 3000, 100, 1000 पे मुझे इंडेक्स नहीं करने का, 10% मुझे टैक्स भर देने का. Now I bought a Reliance for 1000. As on 31st March 2018, it was 3000. I sold it for 3000. So there would be a loss of 500, but it will not be loss will not be entitled to be carried forward. But now I bought a Reliance for 1000. Uh, Fair market value on the date of this 700. I sold for a 700. 700 minus 1000. My actual cost. Now I'm forgetting 3000 minus 1000 minus 300, 30,000. So 300 rupees is to 10%. So I'd be entitled for carried forward of losses for 100. Adjusted against other capital gain income. एटीसीसी ये एलआईसी में कितना मिलता है, ये सब मैं यहाँ कवर नहीं करता. एलआईसी, एम्प्लॉय कंट्रीब्यूशन, पीपीएफ, एनएसई, हाउसिंग लोन रीपेमेंट, ईईएलएसएस, ट्यूशन फी, इंटरेस्ट accrued on NSC, pension of LIC, fixed deposit for 5 years, deposit in a bank with a lock-in period of 5 years. Normal fixed deposit will not be available if I put it for 5 years. Amount deposit in post office, 5-year time deposit in a post office, NABARD, insurance policy, ATC, sale, parents in total. 50, 25, 50, 75. Additional deduction of some insurance for senior citizen parents, 75,000. And if even if in some of the cases you have made a payment for certain expenses, this is available, which I have not shown it here. Now I am going into CTC planning. Salary is chargeable on due or receipt basis. Whether salary आपको receive नहीं हुआ but आपको हर month due हो जाता है, तो even if your employer not paid the salary, not even paid the TDS, but you will be liable for TDS tax, though your employer not paid you the money. This is the crux of this thing. And in one of the judgment, I won it on the basis of that, but it is a difficult, this is a typical judgment. I don't want to discuss it here. Whichever includes wage, annuity, pension, gratuity, fees, commission, perquisition, profit in lieu of salary would be available. Any compensation from employee, if any money received at the time of termination, or I have to make a servant's allowance, then it would be servant's allowance. This would be available. If I have to say मैंने notice serve किया और company को मैंने पैसा पे किया, तो it will not be allowable deduction. Only in case of salary employee, you will be two deduction will be standard deduction and professional tax. So even if I have to pay the surveillance allowance, it will not be available for tax. Okay. Any receipt from employer, former employer, provident fund, another fund, then gradually committed pensions, this thing, HRA, the tax contributed by SSC interest, such contribution, any sum receipt for Cayman insurance, joining an employment, ceases, and if you sometimes you get a joining bonus, still you would be entitled for, आपको टैक्स पैसा भरना पड़ेगा. Okay, pension taxable, accommodated pension taxable, 23, gratuity, 15, 20. Now limit is being increased to 20. 15 days salary divided by completed years, multiplied by 6 months, 20,000, whichever is less. Gratuity, I'm not going to the retirement. Compensation liable for tax, voluntary compensation, this under section 1010C. I'm not going to read it is written here. Any query regarding this 89 relief would be available. House and 50% आपका जो भी BABC है, बोजिक अलाउंस बोनस कमीशन, आपका जो रेंट पेड है minus 40%, in case of other residents or situated other place minus 40%, HRA paid, actual rent paid minus 10%. So this is a formula. मैंने 1 लाख रुपया मेरा रेंट पे किया. Okay, I'm giving and my 40% of this comes to 80,000, and our actual rent over this thing my comes to 2 lakh. I would be available of whichever is lower of this free. 50% of salary is gross salary. Salary is equal to bonus, allowance, bonus, commission. This is the formula. And leave encashment, 10 months salary, average last 10 months, last 10 months average salary, Average salary is going to be ABC, जो bonus allowance, bonus commission, 3 lakh now limit has been increased. LTC, I am entitled for LTC in a block of 2 years, in a block of 22 to 25, one for two for hometown, one for other than hometown. I'd be entitled for himself, self, wife, children, and dependent parents and siblings. Amount actually spent for traveling, and in India only, if you go abroad, you will not be able, only for two children, more than two children, you will not be entitled. if अगर आप road पे जाते हैं तो second class fare. If you go by airfare, it would be like minimum जो air condition जो of a deluxe class public airfare of an economy class, air condition of a first class railway fare, first class deluxe of a class of a public transport fare carried for one entitlement would be a LTC. Are you getting it clear? Once you would be entitled for himself, spouse, children, and dependent parents and siblings. Actual amount spent. What amount actually spent should not be greater than road travel. If you go by car, your own car, second class train fare would be available. If you go by economy class, if you go by higher class, but you would be entitled for economy class only. If you go by air conditioned first class fare would be available. If you go by deluxe first class or deluxe class of a public transport fare, this is the amount which you would be entitled for in a block of four years, one for hometown, other than 2 years for other than hometown. Medical benefit, actual amount of spend, hospital maintained by the employer, husband by the spouse, children, dependent brother, sister, treatment in respect of prescribed medicine only available. The hospital should be approved by Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. Medical insurance paid under insurance scheme reimbursement 40,000 standard action. Medical benefit I already covered. Special announce. I think these are the scheme. If I go through, it is exactly written the way it is written. If you, I'll share with this, and you will be able to have it well understand. अपडेटेड रिटर्न जो 139.8 है जो हम ये जो उसमें भरते थे वो अवेलेबल नाउ डिटेल्स इन जीएसटी एज वेल एज 26 एंड एस अवेलेबल credit side capital account and require more details, more salary, house, PAN, other property income. On the debit side EMI नहीं देखता हूँ. Capital gain in case of transfer, reporting some money as a gift, revised depreciation, information related to this, taxability up to rupees 10 lakh, no deduction, corporate donation, political parties, and this thing. I'll go one line around these three things. One should prepare a bill, absolutely perfect will, and you need not mention all your property. If I have prepared a will like this, if I'm not there, it will go to my wife. And my after my if I die, if my wife die before I die, then I transfer the property to my children in the ratio which I want to give. These are the type of will. So you would have a separate will for yourself as well as wife. You should have describe which property which you want to give it. Suppose I want to give my house to my son, my office to my daughter, you can mention that. But before that, I've already said that I want to give first to my wife and then to my children. These are the way and nomination should be done. So will should be need not be registered. It can be written on simple paper, supported by witness, and the latest will would prevail over the earlier will. Or your earlier will be automatically mentioned for the property mentioned in the next will, latest will. Suppose I prepare a will for 1, 2, 3, 4 property, but I do not mention anything about 5 and 6, and I'm very clear that clear other than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 I did not return. So my 5 and 6 property for old will be prepared and new will for 4. So these are the way the will needs to be taken care. Annual return EIS, and this thing would be available to you on the blog, on the portal. Chabi says you need to take a right to information. There are right to information act is a very good act with which this, and you can use it to your benefit. A right of when you buy things, you need to keep a bill because there are so many right of a consumer, a right of a citizen. You have a lot of records of books and voucher you need to prepare for some time. because that would save you in so many places. If somebody is an old person, say around above 65, and he doesn't have a mean to live the life, they can reverse mortgage their property. They can take a loan. Bank will not ask you any question. They mortgage the property. They would hand over to you and your wife, and after your death, it will be transferred to this thing. These are the right available to you. GST, we are not going to this. So ये मैंने बहुत पहले लिखा था. Now it is an old this thing. Oh God, give me courage to change the things which I can. Oh God, give me serenity to accept the things which I cannot change. Give me wisdom to change what I cannot change. This is old, but I'm not going to. Thanks for elaborating. Anyone who wants to write a question, just write down question me at canitinmpathak@gmail.com 9825804094, and I had a blog, and I'm a Isaka chapter chairman. You can come and ask me any question. I wish you never indulge into practices like political donation or any like because if you think that everybody is doing and I'm doing, that doesn't mean that you are saved. If all are wrong, all are wrong. Wrong remains wrong, right remains right, and law remains law, and law needs to be abide. It's not for government to follow it; it's for us to follow it. Because tax is not an expense. Tax is a right of a government to claim this. With this thing, I allow unmute yourself, and you can ask me a question. So I'm asking you to unmute, and anybody wants to ask a question, they can ask me. You can ask, you can ask, you can unmute and ask me a question. This presentation would be available on a blog, and you can ask me. Anybody else want to ask me a question? You can ask me later on also through email. हाँ
Mr.
बोलिए.
Chiranjeev, this side. Thanks first for very, I would say, insightful presentation and explanation. My queries on this donation part.
हाँ.
Let's say this donation maybe I have done for 1 year, maybe that is discontinued. Would it have any other impact also on my overall, I would say, return, or it would be specific to that particular?
Particularly that year, particularly for that end only.
Okay. Can we take any upfront action? Let's say if it is.
For which year you made a donation?
21, 22.
Where are you located?
I'm in Ahmedabad only.
Do you have my number?
Yeah, I have noted down.
You can. I will guide you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
And it's like today I have around 25 people around all over India. I've done the work for them. I think you would be any problem. You would be save 100%.
Okay.
Hello.
हाँ बोलिए sir.
I'm Mr. Gajaria.
Pardon?
I'm Mr. Gajaria from
हाँ.
Bombay. From Bombay.
Okay.
Suppose I agree that donation is bogus and I'm prepared to pay taxes, etc. I file a return with the donation disallowing it.
Which year you made it?
1819.
1819. Okay. Yeah.
Then my question is, if I pay, will I be, and I don't file an appeal, etc., will I be covered under 270 AA for non-payment?
What you are saying is like this.
Yes.
Okay. You have received a notice under section 148A.
Yes.
You would say that I have made a donation.
Yes.
They would ask you to file a reverse return.
Yes.
You file a reverse return.
Yes.
By paying all tax.
Yes.
You ask me, how will guide you how to do it.
Okay.
But it doesn't give you guarantee. I tell you
I understand. It doesn't give you guarantee.
What further is a possibility, I tell you. Suppose you made a donation of 3 lakh. Okay, and you received it 3 lakh back. Then you are liable to hit under section 269 SST also.
Exactly.
And also, government may levy a prosecution on you.
That is a big problem. That is a big threat.
No, you don't worry. I'll handle it.
Okay.
because I have a ways and means. And when I made an answer,
Uh,
when I made an answer, I made a very clear answer, categorical.
correct, correct.
And sometimes you may be saved by a lot of things. You know,
Hmm.
I've been in practice since today I'm 62.
Uh,
I started my practice when I was in college.
uh,
I know how to deal with, how to answer it,
uh.
and I have n number of degrees with me.
Understood, understood, sir. Understood.
And the way I speak, it is not everyone to speak like this. I have not read anything.
Correct.
Are you getting it? What I'm saying?
Yes, yes,
Exactly,
sir.
you are getting what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. I'm getting it. I'm also in practice for last 49 years. I'm 75 years completed.
But you were getting it. लोग
Yes, yes.
बोलते थे, कभी में मैं रुका नहीं हूँ.
No, correct, correct. Your thought of expression is very nice, very nice.
So
It is
this
very
is
clear, very clear mind.
so this is how we started practice.
Exactly, exactly.
And
Exactly.
just mail me. ये मेरा एड्रेस और ये मैंने दिया है.
जी सर, हाँ सर.
I'll guide you. If
Thank
it
you
is
very
for
much.
your client, I will guide you.
Thank you very much.
And you can mail me, and PPT would be available. Anyone else you want to ask me anything?
Yes, sir. I want to ask one question. What will be your fees for this if if
I
you
don't-
guide us?
If it is a guidance, I will not charge. If you do it on your
Okay.
own, I will not charge.
Yeah, that just we need a draft reply from you. So will there be any charges for that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So, sir, I think can we do one thing like we will mail you our notice and then we can get a draft reply from you.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we
You
can
just mail me. I'll guide you also. There are a lot of questions I need to ask you. Already I have replied 40 answers till today.
Okay, okay.
मैंने
Fine,
40
sir.
से-
I think most of the notices are some similar nature because the
No,
wordings are
there
similar.
is no similar nature. I don't think one
Okay.
notice is similar.
Because
Because
two or
what is
three.
my problem? You know, आज मैं जो बोलता हूँ ना, उसको मेरे को लास्ट तक ये कुछ भी करे, गवर्नमेंट में टेक से I want to get prosecute. I want to prosecute. Then I know how to handle it. They say that I want to leave you have taken money back. I will know how to do it. How to get cross verification. Everything is in my mind. It's my 40 years practice. You say you answer it and you will get the things done now. It's not a stereotype answer.
Okay.
Are
Sir,
you
we
getting
will
it?
mail you.
Are you
I'll
getting it?
mail you the.
Because
Yeah,
मुझे
yeah.
आपको लास्ट तक बचाना है. This is an FIR
Right.
against you. आप जैसे ही रिप्लाई करोगे आपके सामने FIR हो जाएगी. FIR मालूम है ना? फर्स्ट हैंड इन्फॉर्मेशन. ये आप कभी भी चेंज नहीं कर सकते. My whole reply would be on the basis of your first answer. And what you say that it's a stereotype, I said no.
Okay.
It's very
Because two, three friends received and the wordings are exactly same. That's why.
but
I thought
wordings
we
are same,
will-
but answer should be different.
Okay.
Because I have to show you at the last stage of life. ये ऐसे जल्दी खत्म नहीं होने वाला.
No, it will continue for a couple of years.
And how to save you is my issue. This is not only one thing. And you know, many of my clients have gone to other CA because of this only. ये आदमी मेरे को इतना फायदा करवा देता है और आप तो मुझे डोनेशन भी नहीं करने देते हो, ये भी नहीं करने देते हो, ये भी नहीं करने देते हो.
It first gets up.
All right.
Nitinji, one more query beyond this political donation.
Yes.
I think you also explained about the mutual fund and this.
Yeah.
You provide a consultancy or it's like what kind of service you provide in that area?
Generally, I guide because मेरा mutual fund में मेरा कोई interest नहीं है ज़्यादा. But I can guide you to make money.
Yeah, that is more important. So.
But then I'm a businessman. That is sure.
Okay. Yeah,
I would see that you are benefited and I also get benefited.
Understood.
पक्का बनिया हूँ मैं.
Okay, we'll connect with you separately.
Yeah, just it's my pleasure, sir. But only thing which I guarantee everyone, मेरे पास आने के बाद में आपको कोई नुकसान नहीं जाएगा.
Yeah.
Anyone else has a question? Can we drop it? Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good
Okay.
speech. Good
Any
speech.
questions? Still, I'm ready to answer.
No, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Nitinji. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
एक मिनट रुक जा.